And we are off to the races, I think. Maybe. If it'll load, perhaps. Yeah. Loading screens for days and days and days and days and days and days and days. Oh, goodness. Hello. How are you guys? Good morning, good evening. I don't know what it is wherever you are, but hello. Yeah. I'm awake. For the record, let's see. We're on my EU account today. And I haven't unlocked the desert at all. Like, not even the first desert area. So, I won't be exploring in there. So no worries there. But that doesn't mean we won't talk about things that happened in there. I just can't, like, go there. Well, I mean, I guess I could. There's nothing stopping me from doing that except, you know, like, sheer lack of waypoints unlocked. I haven't unlocked any of this. Yep. Anyway! EU, more like you, right? Yeah. Sometimes, you know, what actually gets me the most on this account is that I can't farm for artifacts because I'm not even AR-45 yet. It's the most infuriating thing. Super infuriating, but anyway. Yeah, it's very sad. It's so weird having played for like 2 years and then coming back to like a period of time where things were much more simple but also a lot harder. Yeah. It feels weird. Like I'm not used to just not having 1,000 of every material, for example. I'm not used to that. Like having to do farming routes for hand guards and treasure hoarder medallions. What is this? It's so strange. Anyway. Yeah. The alt account will get better at 8R42 with the free Ayaka. Oh, yeah. Of course it will. What do you mean free Ayaka? We get a free Ayaka at home. She just, you know, little, bluer. She has an eye patch for some reason.
Quit following me.
It's okay, I like that version. Stream is a bit blurry. I don't stream on that high resolution, so it might end up being a little blurry. It's more like I can't stream on a higher resolution. Yeah. I recommend for my streams not watching them in a full windowed view. Like I would make them take up maybe half your screen. That tends to be a little more comfy. I forgot about this little hole in here. I used to come here a lot. There was a time on my other account where I used to like farm a ton of ore just like constantly. But nowadays we get so... Oh, hi. Okay. You're lucky I need your metals. Give me your thingies. It's also really weird because like I get to go and do all of the old Liwa and Mondstadt quests that I haven't done in like 2 years. And there's so many things I've forgotten. My goodness, welcome all these new members. Holy cow. I can't keep track. I keep looking over and there's like a new member every time I look at this screen. What's happening? I mean, welcome. Hello. Thank you. Join me on Discord if you want to. I don't want to fight this thing. I'm going to run away. No, I should do those, or have I done them? It's also really weird too, because like, reset is at a different time. I've already done today's commissions. It's going to reset at like 10 o'clock. Okay, cool. Great. Awesome. That means we're just gonna go to Inazuma, I guess. Or over here. I don't know. We'll go to Inazuma. I guess. Hello. Whee! I'm also really sleepy, but like not in a I need to go to bed now kind of way, but in a like my brain is very, very tired kind of way. So I'm probably going to be a little out of it. But I don't want to work on any video stuff because I'm very tired of listening to the sound of my old voice.
Quit following me.
I'm very, very tired. The last skirmish video just like really killed me. I don't know if you guys know this. That video took 4 days of straight editing to make. And it's not including like the writing or the research time or anything else. Like it took a long time. And I had so many amendments. I took out so many sections. I have 10,000 words of cut content. Like I'm pretty sick of just listening to nothing but the sound of my own voice. It's pretty bad. Anyway. Can you stop blocking? That would be nice. Well, all right then. Yay! I won this battle! Hot damn! You know what else is weird? Having to increase my rank, my adventure rank, in order to increase my talent levels. That's also weird. All of this is weird. What's his EM? Who's EM? Wanderer? Like you have to understand, like, I'm not keeping track of any of my stats. Like, I have, like, 3 and 4 star artifacts on these guys. Like, I'm... they're not even leveled, most of them.
Quit following me.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Will I build C6 gene? I mean... My genes are okay. Wait, I have a gene on this account. I might build that one. My other one's built. Like, there's nothing wrong with my current gene on my other account. I just don't use her. There's no team that I really have that's like good for her. Is he gonna heal before that? Nope. Hi, welcome back. Ow. Rude. Very rude. Super rude. What? Hey. That's even more rude. What's with this rudeness? I don't appreciate this. I didn't want to come down here. That was super mean.
Too slow.
Oh god, the bad artifacts, they burn. Yeah, they really do. They hurt me so much. Like, I'm just like, where are my 5-star artifacts? I have like 3 substats on some of these. Not even full substats. It's so painful. Give me all of these. But yeah. Is my Al-Haytham built? Okay, my Al-Haytham is built. I used him to clear Abyss today, but this is my EU account, not my NA account. I can switch to NA if you guys want. That's fine. I don't mind. We can explore the desert instead. I just figured most of you would probably be kind of sick of the desert at this point. It's like that's all anyone's been doing. No, don't hurt me. I mean, we can, you know what, we could swap to, I'll swap to NA, I'll swap to NA. Can I like? There we go. Leave me alone.
As you wish,
Sorry. We can switch to NA after I've spent resin on this account. I don't even know what I'm spending my resin on. That's another thing. It's really hard to remember what I'm supposed to spend resin on because I basically need everything. So that's frustrating. That's very frustrating. In hindsight, this account may not have been the best idea to start, but whatever. Oh, I guess that was a waste. Oh well. That's mine now. But okay, yeah, so you asked about Al-Haytham. Yeah, no, I haven't built on my NA account, and on my main account is what I really should say. That is my main account. This is my backup account for like when I miss cutscenes or I don't know if something's supposed to be important or something. That's what this account's supposed to be for, so that I still have a way to go back and capture footage that I missed. Like, I'm missing the entire Sacred Sakura quest because I lost all that footage. So I gotta do that on this account at some point. At some point. Cam, thanks for the super chat. Hey, I was just wondering your thoughts on Sino and his relation to the Temple of Silence or Sino in general.
You're so happy just to see the sun again.
I don't know that there's a whole lot on Sino right now. Like, he's technically just a normal dude. That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of let's put it. How do I put it? There's a lot of theories about like Al-Haytham being some reincarnation of Deshret, and then Sino being some reincarnation of another god, potentially. But like, I don't think that's actually the case. I think, you know, Al-Haytham and Sino, for that matter, and basically everyone else in Sumeru isn't really a reincarnation of anybody. I really think like they're just all normal dudes and dudettes. But the Temple of Silence, if I remember correct, hang on. I want to look at something really quick. Can I see that on here? Can I? No, I can't. Oh, yes, I can. I swear Al-Haytham has something on the Temple of Silence too, but like, it doesn't.
There's no need to exchange pleasantries. It's rather pathetic to force a conversation.
I've gotten like 4 Temple of Silence questions, and I don't remember any of the stuff that I read about it after I go and look for it. That's the thing. That's the thing. I thought it was like part of the Matra affiliation thing. Like, how do I put it? Oh man, my brain doesn't work. I thought that it was like the Temple of Silence was like an organization that was like a subsection of the Matra. But I don't remember anymore. The thing about Sino though, like apart from the Temple of Silence, because I can for some reason not retain any of the information that ever pertains to that. Even though I've been asked so many times.
Let's get down to business.
I don't like I think he's just a normal dude, yes, but I also think that like he has kind of an odd how to put it, odd talent with his vision. Because like there's a couple of different types of vision manifestations. There's the manifestations that's like, you know, Scaramouche, where it's like, this is a natural extension of my power, right? And then there's like Xingqiu's, who's like learns a special type of martial art and he uses it with his vision, right? And then you've got Yao Yao, who uses like a mechanical thing, right? It's not really sentient, it's just like a machine that she's augmenting with, oh, oops. with her vision. But then you have someone like Fischl, who has like a whole semi-sentient thing attached to her vision. And technically, Razor also falls into that category. And I think Sino falls into that category too. Like, I don't think there's anything particularly special or unique about Sino as an individual. Like, he's just a cool, chill dude with a strong sense of justice. But I think that there is something kind of special about, like, the spirit that he made a pact with, so to speak. You know? Especially since it does seem kind of connected to Razor. I talked about that once before, though. Because, like, if Sino is Anubis, then that makes Razor like what is it, Wet? I can't say it very well, but that was a related deity to Anubis. Familial. A familial deity. Yeah. I don't know, I don't remember, I can't remember anything about the Temple of Silence. It's so frustrating. This is like the fourth, like legit the fourth time someone's asked me questions about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go read up on it. And then I do, and then I get really distracted and then I don't remember anything. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Does this guy want to die? Please, thank you. You know, along those lines, I want to go on a tangent for a second. There's a lot of theories about reincarnation in Genshin, like just in general. And I think one of the oldest and the most popular ones were around Ningguang being, you know, like a reincarnation of Guizhong. That was the most popular one for forever, you know? And obviously that's proven wrong now, that we've seen everything that happened in Lantern, right? Like, that's totally wrong. But there's a couple of things that I still feel like are worth mentioning. Like, for example, there's a strong possibility that Guizhong's symbol is a phoenix, or was a phoenix, or you know, like the Chinese Feng Huang or Huang. There's a discrepancy between the types. One is male, one is female. I'm gonna get it wrong, but you get the idea, right? Like a Chinese phoenix. And one thing that Ningguang does have is a tattoo of a phoenix on her. And a lot of, like, the more noble clans seem to reference either dragons or phoenixes. Like, if you look at Chongyun, who comes from a line of exorcists, he's referencing a dragon in his outfit and everything. And then Xingqiu, who's, like, kind of Chinese nobility, or Liwei nobility, rather. He's got a phoenix on his jacket, too. So I wonder about that in relation to, like, Guizhong and Zhongli. And when we talk about reincarnations or even incarnations or any of that kind of stuff, right? There has to be a difference between actually being a reincarnation, like this is your soul in a new body, and, you know, an inheritance. Like, I strongly think that Ningguang inherited something from Guizhong. Like, for example, her philosophy on how to approach, you know, ruling a nation, right? I think there's a lot of common ground there. So I think Sino is in a similar boat where he isn't necessarily the reincarnation of anybody, or necessarily related to anybody like that, but he inherited something from an important figure. In this case, probably Kasala, or, you know, similar. I think about it that way. I don't know if that was, like, the most confusing way I could have put it, but there we are. Just my thought. Anyway, sorry, I got I got a little distracted. We'll talk about it more. I still have to get my Guizhong thoughts in order. I've got a couple pages worth of notes to comb through before I put that video together. I was taking a break. I burned out pretty bad after the last video. I was just like, oh, you know what? I should, take some time to like get my next couple theories in order. I'll just edit this video. That shouldn't take that long, right? It's just like, you just have to edit it. You already wrote it. You already recorded it. Everything's good. 2 days later. Yeah. Oh, I have one. Cool. Tempest Astra, what does your research process generally look like? Many connections you make truly impressive. How do you arrive at them? Oh God. It depends. I got hit by lightning. It really depends on what I'm doing. Or like what I'm looking into. Like some things are like very specific. This is only found in Genshin kind of stuff. And I just have to comb the wiki, clicking around links and reading through stuff and looking for patterns. And then other times, it's definitely not that. There's all sorts of real world influences. So like, I guess like, okay, let's take the skirmish thing because it's like the freshest thing on my memory, right? Sometimes I will naturally connect something, be like, oh, I've seen this before, and then I kind of know what to look for, I don't know if I can get in here yet. Oh, I can. Cool. I will naturally know what to look for just because, I've been there before, or I've seen something like it. I've read a book or I've seen a video or something like that. And then other times, I might stare at something and be like, what is this outfit? Or what is this symbol? Or something like that. Like I might do something along those lines. That happens a lot too. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, that hated me. Can you heal me, please? Thank you. So when I was looking up, for example, the Kabukimono thing, the first thing you got to work with is obviously the name, the Kabukimono. You can always look that up. That's pretty easy. You type that into Google and you're going to find one thing. You're like, okay, yeah, well, I know Kabukimono now is a samurai. Great. But then you're like, but why is it called Kabuki, right? And then you can start looking down that rabbit hole. And then you start looking down timelines in the history of Japan. And then you're like, oh, well, this was part of a transitionary period from this era to this era. And then you're like, oh, wait, I know this other thing that just showed up out of the blue. I wonder if those two things are related. And then it just kind of spirals from there, right? Like that tends to be how that process pans out. It's not a particularly special method. It's just like a long it's just a lot of long connect the dots, take your notes, write it down, and try to not lose track of where you are. That's basically, it's very haphazard. Sometimes though, I'll end up finding just random things on Twitter. Like someone will say something like, oh, I just noticed like this comes from XYZ. And I'll be like, oh, is that where that's from? And then that prompts like a whole, rabbit hole of new things I can search for. Sometimes people just leave really helpful comments on videos. And then I'm like, oh, now I have more things to look up. Yeah, it's just a constant asking of the question, what is this? And then trying to figure out what this is. And sometimes it means things and sometimes it doesn't.
There you go. I packed it all into a bag for you.
Anyway, sorry, I got really I got really, really, really distracted. The Temple of Silence reference is in Elhatham's outfit description, I'm pretty sure. Oh, okay. Okay, if that's the case, then when I swap over to my NA, I'll take a look at it because I have him over there. So we'll look at it there. We'll look at it there. Bonnet, thanks for the super chat. I was wondering how you got into theorizing. Oh. It's not really that interesting of a story. Okay, so at one point really randomly got into Zelda lore. Like, I don't remember what it was. I was looking at something and then a YouTube recommendation came up and then I realized there's like this whole community of Zelda theorists that were like making these kind of cool things and I was like, man, this is really cool. And I spent like 3 days binging all of them and I still watch them. But that was kind of like my introduction to like, oh, like you can make like game theories on just one game. And I didn't really think anything of it because this was like a couple years before Genshin came out. And then I was playing Fire Emblem Heroes as like a, you know, like my little gotcha game passive thing or whatever. And that had an end game mode. And so I started like posting those online just for fun. And that's when Genshin started after my channel had kind of been around for a while and I was just kind of like passively, you know, posting my little Fire Emblem Heroes daily things or whatever. And I didn't know anything about Genshin. I didn't know anything about Hoyoverse or anything. And I'm just like, oh, wait, they have a second game? What's the second game? And so I went to look up Honkai stuff and I'm like, wait, there's a lot of like crossover between what I've seen so far in Genshin and then Honkai. And I'm like, what if I like made a video on it? And it was like probably the most terrifying thing I've done in a long time in terms of like anxiety inducing because I'd never put an opinion out on YouTube to just be openly judged. And it's not like I haven't been putting, you know, other content online to be judged by people, but it's like different, never an opinion. Not like that, not in like a very public, here's an essay kind of way. So that was very stressful. I don't think I looked at comments for like, oh my God, like a month. I think I ignored comments for a month. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so I made that and I'm just like, so what if these are connected and this is a sequel? But like what happened was when I went to go look at the comments were all like pretty positive, like overall. Not saying like, oh my God, this is an amazing theory. It wasn't like praise or anything. It was just more like people showed interest. Like they were like, oh, this is actually really cool. And I'm like, oh, people think it's cool. That's not me. Oh, that's cool. And I'm like, well, what if I made another one? And I just made another one. And now I'm here. Yeah. So you can blame the Zelda theorists, I guess.
Quit following me.
Yep. You can blame them. Silicon! Hi! Welcome. Thanks for the super chat. I can't stay long, but I wanted to stop in and say hi. Hope you're doing well after the burnout and everything, too. You, too. Man, I've been meaning to ping you on Twitter, because Guizhong stuff happened, and like as soon as it came out, I thought of you, and then I got really distracted. Oh, I hope that was everything you were hoping for. I remember she was like one of your favorite things, favorite topics. Yes, I hope that was really cool. I will follow up on that. I will. I promise I'm not that scatterbrained. She says unable to finish a sentence correctly. I should really just like grab some of these waypoints, but I also kind of don't want to. So I don't think I will. In fact, I think I'm just gonna go to Leeway and I'm gonna make some resin and I'm gonna spend that resin and then not do anything else. But yeah. Can you do this? Thank you, Zelda Theorist. Yes, thank all of them. There's like 4 really prominent Zelda only theorists who have since branched out. And that's gotta be like a really hard thing to be on YouTube, especially if you're full-time. Because like, when you think about it, you go like 4 to 6 years between Zelda games. And I'm sure they've run through the gambit on what content they have. So I can't really imagine just doing that. I actually don't know what I'm supposed to spend resin on today. Hang on. First off, I want to do that because yes. I think I'm okay on oh, maybe I'm not. Oh no, I'm good on books. I just needed handguards, that's all. Okay, maybe it's weapons. Maybe I just need weapon stuff. Do I just need weapon stuff? If not, we're just gonna do ley lines. Not this one. Oh, I gotta fight. This is why I haven't done anything, is because I have to go fight a bunch of freaking abyss mages. I can't do that one anyway. Is this today? Is it Wednesday in this game? I think it's Wednesday. Yes? Yes. So we could go get some of these for Yao Yao. I could also get some of these for the sack sword, and we could fight some ruin guards, I guess. Heck, thank you for the super chat. What are you bravoing? I don't understand. What did I do? Oh dear. I think I gotta fight a bunch of abyss mages. I don't wanna fight the abyss mages. I guess we should. I don't wanna. What if I just didn't fight the abyss mages? Alright. Well, I'm gonna need to do it anyway. So what if, hang on, I need a plan. I need to, like, know what I'm doing. Hold up. I think I'm gonna need a lot of EXP books, so I may as well just do ley lines today, I guess. Let's do that. And while I'm at it, navigate. Do domains first? But I don't have anything in the domains that I need right now. That's the problem. Oh dear. That's the problems. That's the thing about, like... It's the thing about having an account like this is, like, I have no materials. I'm not used to this. Oh, I forgot.
Let me weave you a verse. No, my sword, not good.
Can you not do that? I was gonna get weapon stuff, but I can't really do anything with the weapon stuff right now. Ow. I can't do anything with it. Because I don't have any of the, like, boss material. Well, not boss materials. Like, enemy drops. What was that? What did I get hit with? Oh my god. Okay, fine. Dive underground. See if I care. Stupid whopper flowers. Sorry. Yeah. Kwong, thanks for the super chat. In my opinion, how deep is Genshin lore? Very deep, but also very shallow. Oh, that's confusing. Let me how do I rephrase this? How do I rephrase this?
Too slow.
I think how do I put this actually? I feel like this should be a much easier answer than I'm making it out to be, but like the thing about Genshin lore is like there's different levels to it. So when you ask about depth, it's kind of a weird thing to say. Like it's kind of like if you had like 12 different pools that all kind of feed into each other, but each one of them is a different depth. And then you ask, like, what's the collective depth? And I'm like, well, let me count the depth of each of the 12 pools and then average them out together and I'll let you know. I mean, like, that's kind of how it comes out in the end. I think when it comes to actual plot, it's a very shallow game. I actually think it's pretty shallow. I think when it comes to references and Easter eggs and all that kind of stuff, like, it's very deep. I think there can be, like, deep instances in it, but, like, I don't think that anything in the game is particularly, like, super deep, ultra mega lore. I don't know. I think it just feels a lot deeper than it actually is because we don't understand a lot of it right now.
Body and mind. Witness the power of Gurwa.
Oh my.
Stay put. By royal decree.
Yeah. I think that about sums up my thoughts on it, actually. I think that's a pretty good, yeah. Pretty good summary.
You're dead.
Ow. That was rude. Very rude. Super rude. Yeah, lore not that deep, not that deep. But you know, I think that's also by design. Like, I think you can read into it as deep as you want to. A lot of times. Because so much care has been put into every small detail to connect them all together. So instead of it being deep, it's more like it's very webbed. It's very interconnected. Like, everything in the game has meaning. It just might not have a deep meaning. You know what I mean? I think that's how I like to think about it. Because, like, when it comes to having a gacha game, you kind of can't have, like, this super complex, greatly deep... I mean, I guess you can, but it's really difficult, I think, to have a game that's only been meant to play, like, for a little bit at a time over the course of, like, often years, you know? And have it be this really intricate, super deep kind of thing. I think that's very difficult. I think Hoyo tried that with Honkai Impact. And honestly, it's a struggle sometimes to follow what the hell's going on with Honkai. And they've had to retcon so many things as the years go by. And, you know, it's kind of I think they realized the challenges of it, and so when they brought through Genshin, they took it and they put it in a slightly different how to put it. They tried to alleviate that, where they made the plot itself very easy to follow. But they added as much detail as they could to keep things interesting and still make it feel like it's a very rich, lived-in world. You know what I mean? And I think that's also something they've tried to mitigate with Star Rail too, which is the game that should be coming out this year at some point. Which is kind of a sequel to Honkai Impact, kind of. I say that kind of like tentatively.
Too slow.
Outlines your fate. Stay put.
The reason is because Star Rail is like an interplanetary thing, right? So you can have one overall plot that's like, here's our overall plot, and they can keep that pretty simple. Because that's the one that's gonna like follow you from planet to planet, right? I'm trying to auto-target this mage here. It's not working. There we go. So they can keep it so it's like each planet has its own really complex, nice, and pseudo-deep plot, right? But then they can keep the overall plot that follows you from planet to planet less complex. And that way, you know, you can still experience like a full, complete story on each planet. And then as those planets finish, it's easier to kind of like leave them behind and not think about them anymore. And that's something that you can see that they've learned from Genshin. But that's kind of my take on it, on how the depth goes. It's not like an easy binary answer, I guess, is more or less what I'm saying. That was a really long answer for like something that was not actually that complicated. I told you that like I'm loopy. I'm a little loopy. I'm a little loopy. Hold up. I just realized something. Ouchies. There. That's better. I don't know if I've missed anything since then. Okay, no, I haven't. I'm good. We're good. Okay. Are we good? We Gucci. We Gucci's! Num 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 num. Do 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 do. Oh, hi! Past tense! Thanks for the super chat! Hello, I'm curious if enough content has come out from Honkai and Genshin to make a follow-up video on your initial video of their possible connection. Yes, but also no. Okay, so I guess I need to explain something that seems kind of innocuous, really. When I made the original Honkai Genshin video, I did so with very limited knowledge, right? And that is both a blessing and a curse, because like when you have limited knowledge, there's like limited options for you. Like you can't really do much. Like you don't have a whole lot of options in terms of what you might think happened. The problem is now that Genshin and Honkai have matured a little bit more and explored some new directions, and I've become far more in depth with both of their lore, I've entered this state where I have like 4 ideas for what I think the connections are, and I have no idea which idea I think is the right idea, or like more correct than the other ones, I guess. Like, and so like I'm equally married to 4 different ideas, and that poses a lot of challenges for me in terms of trying to make one cohesive theory, because as soon as I start on one, I'm like, oh, but wait, but this corroborates something else way more. But then I go into that one and then I'm like, oh, but this corroborates this way more. And I get into like this weird feedback loop, and I just don't like it. And that's actually part of what the problem was with my world structure theory series. I had this exact problem. Basically, I had, when I began this series, I had this idea of how everything kind of fit together. And then as I produced the videos and worked on it more, and we learned more about Genshin's lore and Honkai's lore and everything else, like, I realized that what I thought I knew, I probably actually didn't know as well as I thought I did. And then I had to rethink things. And then I got distracted, and then yeah, anyway. So yes, there is some way. But like, see, originally my whole theory about how Genshin and Honkai connect was all about like Project Arc, and I still think that's related. But it's far more likely now that their connection is through Project Stigma instead. And that's a whole can of worms, and I haven't really been wanting to touch on the idea because I feel like even avid Honkai players and enthusiasts don't understand Stigma all that well. And working with it just is complicated because not only do you have to figure out how Stigma actually works, and they've kind of like changed it a couple of times, sort of, or like given some slightly conflicting explanations on how it works, but we have to figure out like how it applies to Genshin itself, and then that actually ties into other things like what visions are, for example, right? So you end up having to solve these complex problems that you just don't have enough information to even catch a glimpse of properly yet. I don't know how else to put it. I feel like I have 2 pieces of a 500-piece puzzle right now. How's that? How? Why would you shoot me? I mean, that's just rude, don't you think? Just rude. Absolutely. Oh, being frozen is like the worst thing in the world. Those Eremites that like dance together, the Hydro one with the cryo axe dude, oh, I hate them so much. I hate them so much. So much hate for those. Like, there's no real reason. It's just they annoy me. I hate getting frozen and then like they're all dancing together. And then everyone dies and I'm like, wait, no, you can't do that to me. So annoying. Anyway. Am I out of resin yet? Have I done enough of these? I have not. Okay. All right, then. Am I out of resin now? I didn't even check. Hold up. I am out of resin now. Okay, cool. All right, then. In that case, I guess it's time to hop off this account. Well, actually, no, not yet. One thing first. I do fully intend to make a second Honkai Genshin connection video, and it is the final part to the world structure theory video series. It's just that, like, I feel like every patch that's come out since then has just been... I've just been really overwhelmed. And it's been hard to be able to justify finding the time to go back and work on that theory over anything else, right? Like, it's so hard for me to be like, oh, I'm going to ignore everything that we learned in Lantern, right? Because, you know. Okay, am I just blind? Like, oh, there's the handguards. Jeez, like, where are my handguards? Like, I gotta talk about that, and then it's like, I have to talk about, like, the things that are relevant, like, right now, because that's what people really care about, and it's like, I'm waiting for a dead patch, which might be a really tall ask before I go back to world structure theory. Because it's gonna be a pain in the ass to make. I'm out of praxis books. I'm out of handguards. Of course. Of course. Of course. It's fine. We'll do this one first. And I think that'll do that for now. For now, yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We'll swap. Yeah, I totally have intention to revisit that. I just you guys have seen my queue. If you've ever been on my Discord, you've seen my real queue. Because on that one, I post everything that's like currently in production, then the videos that are upcoming, like planned, like I have notes for and everything, and I'm just like waiting for the opportunity to actually do that video. And then I also have all of the videos that have like been put on the back burner, like they're on hold. And there's a lot. Like one video I really want to make because it's bugging the crap out of me is a video on how the past in this game does not change except for like really specific extenuating circumstances. Because apparently people are still confused about this. I'm confused about why people are still confused about this, but okie dokie. But yeah, I was talking to Tevat Historia and a couple other theorists about it, and I think Tevat Historia is gonna make a video on it, but like it's a video I do want to make. I don't have time. Or brain. When I say I don't have time, it's not like I don't have hours that I could dedicate to it if I really wanted to. It's more like I have a limited amount of brain juice. And that needs to get rationed. So, you know, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna ration it. Anywho. Yeah.
They do this time.
Actually, Yao Yao I guess can stay. Do we keep Yao Yao on this team or do we take Layla? Let's take Layla.
Let's go for...
Yeah. Wee! I do need to spend resin here too. Come to think of it. I'm also kind of tired of the Flowers of Paradise Lost domain, though, so I guess we'll go over here and suffer in here today. Nikki, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on Sandrone and Guizhong designs? I mean, yeah, I have some. I do want to talk about it more in depth, but like I do have a video planned out for it. I guess at like the high level, they're very similar. I think there's a lot to be said for the hypothesis that they are related. I don't necessarily, like, upon like more consideration, I don't really think that they're the same person. Like, I don't actually think Sandrone is Guizhong. You know? If that makes sense. It's more like... Oh, she's still alive. What the hell? I don't appreciate you still being alive, madam. That was rude of you. How do I put this? So you know how I said that, you okay over there, Finny? You know, I said in the Scaramouche analysis that Scaramouche as the Comedia character actually did have a role in puppetry, in puppet theater. That is interesting to me because as Genshin characters, Scaramouche and Sandrone are the two who, you know, are related to puppetry. One's a marionette and one's like a divine puppet. So I find that part very interesting. I think it would be kind of weird for them to reuse the idea that Guizhong had her body remade into like a puppet form, you know? So I don't know how likely it is that the two are that interconnected. I do think it's an interesting idea to say that Sandrone is similar to Scaramouche in that she may have been crafted in a god's image. But I'm also like of the opinion that it might just be a total coincidence. You know? Because the other characters that they look like are Ether and Lumine. Like Guizhong and Sandrone kind of both look like Lumine, and I was kind of like, how do I put this? I was kind of torn on the idea. Like, I didn't really understand like why that would be, or why it would be that she looks more like Lumine than Guizhong. And then I realized that Zhongli and Ether have like the same earring. And then I got really confused about why they would have the same earring and how I just like never noticed it before. And so now I don't know what to think. So I have thoughts. I think it's interesting. I think the one thing I like about the possibility that Guizhong and Sandrone are like connected in a significant way. Can you not do that to me, please? That would be nice. Is that it would really explain what Zhongli was trading the Gnosis for in the Liyue Archon quest. Because like we never really got an answer for that. And I think that would be a really interesting twist. But I'm so hesitant to make any claims on Sandrone right now. Like, I'm so hesitant. We just know so very little about her. But I think it would be really hilarious on one particular level. And that is that Scaramouche has a line about Sandrone in his character lines, right? And he keeps saying, oh, she does nothing but make trash, you know? And he's like, and even with all of her whatevers, she's only able to produce garbage, and she can only secure a seat like one space below mine or whatever. But I think it would be really funny if all of his bitterness about this, or like his smugness, I guess, came from the fact that he knew she was based off of like a real god. Or that she was a real god and like, huh, this real god's worth less than this puppet god. That's not really a god. That's funny. Like, I think that would be hilarious. But I'm so hesitant to speculate on anything about her, honestly. Like, I can't. I don't know. Yeah. We'll talk about it more. I need to ruminate on it a little bit, I think. Because there's a lot of possibilities, but we just have so little to go on. So I want to see what I can glean from looking at how to some more real world implications. I do have a Harbinger video coming up. I'm gonna revisit my original Harbinger rankings. I know. Again, right? Again. I have some new thoughts based on some new lines of thinking that have been introduced to me that I want to share. So, yeah, why is that triggering now? I'm not saving him. He should have called for help before. Oh. Fine. 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 No, is he still there? Is he still there? He's still there. Hi, dudes. Oh, I thought I could hit Lagoff. Apparently not. Okay, fine. What if all four things? Oh, yeah, no, listen. We don't go there. Nivinger, which would you say is more interesting, lore, Genshin or Honkai? Hot take. I think Honkai has the more interesting story. I think Genshin has the more interesting lore. And a lot of that just has to do with the fact that I think Genshin's world building is much more interesting than Honkai's. But I think Honkai's story is much more interesting than Genshin's. Does that make sense? They're two different things. But I also am of the opinion that Honkai should be a single story RPG, and it doesn't work that well as a gacha. I don't think it works well as a gacha at all. And I feel like it should be remade as a standalone RPG. I do think Genshin works better as a gacha. Like an ongoing live service game, when I say that. Sensual Magikarp. What is that name? Why did you pick that name? Of all things. What about a Magikarp is sensual? I gotta know. Woke up one morning and decided to stroke your carp, huh? I don't know about that. Anyway, on the topic of a shallow plot, do you think that Genshin anime will suck if it focuses only on the main plot? No, I don't. There's a lot of really cool side stories that would look even cooler if, you know, if they had like the right camera angles, if they had the more interesting dialogue options, if they weren't like all based on flashbacks, you know, like all of those sorts of things. There's so many cool instances of things in Genshin that would look so cool if they could be fully animated. Like, I feel like they could take the whole Raiden Shogun arc and do something really cool with it that actually feels more complete. And more cohesive, because they'd be able to like show Kokomi more on the battlefield. They could show more of like the aftermath of what it means to have your vision taken away. Like they could do a lot more with that in an anime and make it feel like it has more weight. So I don't think it'll be like okay, so shallow plots aren't bad, okay? Like a shallow plot does not mean it's a bad story. I want to be very clear on that. And a deep, complex plot does not mean it's a good story either. I feel like a lot of people think that like you have to have some really crazy, intense, complex thing for it to be good. But in reality, you don't need that. Like, you can have really good but simple stories. I kind of, these days, prefer some slightly more simple stories just because they're rarer. They're way more rare. People keep thinking like they have to make everything big and complex, and they just don't. But they do. They don't have to. I'm saying like they don't have to do it, but they do it, is what I mean. I mean, like, I think Genshin's story is fine. I think it's solid. I don't think it's very complicated, and I don't think that's a bad thing. There's a lot of things I would like to see them do, but like a lot of it's not really in terms of the writing, in terms of like what happens or even some of the dialogue. It's more like, whoa. Okay. You're a weird lady. You're a weird lady too. What's going on here?
I'm sick of this.
Your coming was fortuitous.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see how it goes.
For the eternal oasis.
I was wondering where these characters would be. Because I'd only seen the ring dancers. I hadn't seen the pyro one yet. I saw her for the first time today in the abyss. And I was like, I have no idea how you function. Okay, why are these suddenly a thing? Is this a puzzle? Did we stumble upon a puzzle? How interesting. Susu, am I ever planning on making a video explaining Honkai story without going into depth? No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I feel like I should leave that to people who are actually playing the game. I played Honkai for a while. And then realized the gameplay just wasn't for me. And so I quit.
You are not welcome here.
My guiding star.
So I really feel like if that video gets made, it should be made by someone who's like actively playing. I don't know.
Dance with me.
You were here to watch.
I will say that if you're looking for Honkai lore, the one channel that I think does a pretty good job on it
You even want
is
this?
called Homu Labs. HOMU, Homu Labs. They make some pretty good videos on it. They made one explaining Project Stigma that I think was pretty good. And definitely worth like looking into again. If you're interested in that kind of thing. So this is a weird puzzle. I think I'm behind on chat again. Whoops.
Time to go to work. Here you are. We'll sing.
Some target practice.
I am not target practice. I'm gonna smack your face. Oh.
Rise a storm.
But we'll meet again.
I have no doubt. Everywhere I go, I see her face. If you completed the Falcon quest, you'll know what I mean. Everywhere I go, she haunts me. Sorry, hold up. I am behind. I know I'm behind. I got really behind. I'm sorry. Yep. I got to. Okay, I gotta skip some stuff so that I can actually catch up here. Hold on.
Learning alone is not
Connie,
enough
thanks for the 2 months.
intelligence. All those scholars in the academia
Dude,
are
thank you
using
for gifting those memberships. Really appreciate it, man. If you guys got a membership from that gifted, I hope you said thank you. That's just common courtesy. Justin, 5 months already, huh? Thanks, bud. Artifact farming, aka RNG hell. Yeah. My gilded pieces and stuff aren't that great, so it's not that bad right now.
Our bond is strong. Lightning terrified.
Well, that target was terrible. Where? Hi.
process of elimination.
Seriously? Owie. Mean. Rude.
Upon the gale.
I don't know why you want to sleep in yellow, man.
Quit following me.
You're supposed to keep cool and subdued colors in your bedroom so that you can sleep like a babe. Hey, look, a thingy. Give me the sparkly shiny whinies. What really bothers me in terms of like Honkai and Genshin stuff, and like this is completely random, but item drops like this look just like the Star of Eden. If you play Honkai, you'll know kind of what I'm talking about, but like they look like the Star of Eden, and it bothers me that all items basically look like that. Bothers me so much. Anyway. Fencer Dario, thanks for the super chat. So what the heck could Colombina be that has even Scaramouche intimidated? Also, is it possible that Alice is a descender since she narrated his CM? Okay, two questions.
You even want this?
So, right. I mean, the most popular theory on Colombina is that she's a Seelie. That is very possible, honestly, very likely. I'm personally someone who subscribes to the theory. Especially after like going into a deep dive on Magenta and then being like, oh, hey, look, she's all pink. The thing is that Scaramouche isn't freaked out by Colombina. Child's kind of freaked out by Colombina, and I think that's different. Scaramouche said that we shouldn't fight her as the Traveler. He said she comes across as very innocent and she'll totally throw us off our game because we're too soft-hearted. And then he said, but no, of course I'd fight her. I could do it. He doesn't say he'd win. He just says that he would be okay fighting her, which I think is a kind of important distinction. It means that he's not like super confident that he could take her in a fight, but it does mean that, you know, he's not afraid of her, so to speak. Oh. Yay. Look at that. I want to go that way. When can we go that way? Paimon won't let me go that way. Who am I kidding? Paimon's blocking me from exploring the places I want to go to. Let me go out of bounds. Up, 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 and away. So yeah, no, it's child that's intimidated. That's one distinction I wanted to make. But I like even especially after doing all this desert quest stuff, I'm even more of the opinion that Colombina as a Seelie makes sense. Like it just makes sense. Cause well, I don't know how many of you guys have finished these quests, so I kind of don't want to go into too much detail. But there's some things that happen in this quest where I'm just like, yeah, that reminds me of Colombina. When it comes to Alice narrating Scaramouche's CM, I am not sure that that's good evidence that she's a descender. Because like a lot of people have suggested this, right? Saying, oh, you know, she must be a descender because, you know, Scaramouche deleted himself, and so Dainsleif probably forgot all about him. But the thing is, like, that's kind of irrelevant. Whether or not Dainsleif forgot him, you know? Because this isn't about Scaramouche, this is about Wanderer. And Wanderer hasn't been forgotten. Wanderer still exists, right? There's no reason, and there's nothing in there except for one tiny thing that Alice says that Dainsleif couldn't have said, like canonically, and been totally fine. And that was the one thing about never being able to escape your past. But even then, like, I feel like it's still not that big of a deal that she was the one to narrate it and he wasn't. Well, this isn't where I wanted to go. This is not where I wanted to go. Okay. I'll go over here then. Sorry. And I don't even think that it means that she's a descender, that she voiced it or anything, because like nothing in there implies that she knows or that she didn't lose her memory or anything. The only thing that we can confirm from her lines in his collected miscellany is that she is aware that something has been tampered with in Irminsul. And the thing is Nahida and stuff is also aware that something has been tampered with in Irminsul, right? Alice might have a job that relates to Irminsul and therefore has a method of which to detect tampering. And I don't think that this is something that's unique to Alice either, because I honestly think that Dainsleif has something similar. Because like his title is Bowkeeper. But it's not bowkeeper as in like a protector of a tree. It's bowkeeper as in someone who finds lost branches and like salvages them for later. Right? And that sounds like someone who would know about something Descender-ish. You know what I mean? That's why I'm hesitant to say that Alice is a Descender because she voiced a collected miscellany. I think Alice voices those odd collected miscellanies because that's her job. Like, part of her job is, like, doing things to tamper with Irminsul. And a lot of that thought does have to do with the fact that Alice is from the Hexen Circle, and I'm personally of the opinion that the Hexen Circle is related to Irminsul exploration, which is actually something that we know that they do. But I think she has a job that's a bit more interconnected with the tree than we think it is. So that's my very long answer to a very simple question. My apologies. Hang on. My chat likes to jump around. Renatha, thank you for the super chat and the rainbow. I appreciate it. I'd love to get a little bit more sunshine. It was 6 degrees here today. Fahrenheit, not Celsius. That's like -16 Celsius, I think. Something like that. 16, 17? I don't know exactly what the math is. I'm just estimating. Yeah, I would like some sunshine. Nice and warm, toasty. Kwang, thank you for the second super chat. Totally agree with your Conrian video. Conria did nothing wrong. They have a right to defend themselves. Conria and Dainsleif stands rise. Yeah. I don't think anything's simple when it comes to war. And as we're learning, Genshin is basically all about different wars in different locations. And I don't think there's any clear-cut answer for any of them. War is always a terrible thing. And I don't think there's ever one side that's particularly better than the other in the end of it. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's better to say I don't think there's any side that comes out perfectly noble and completely without fault at the end of it. It's probably a better way to say it. How close can I get before it throws me away? That close. It's an invisible wall. Okay. Well, that's cool. Arturo, thanks for the super chat. Hi, your opinion on Yelan's bow on other characters. I have the same opinion of Yelan's bow as I do of Ito's red horn. It's really low base attack, really high crit damage. The passives are like moderately useful depending on the character that you put them on. I think if you are able to run that bow on a team with a lot of attack buffers to make up for the low base attack, it can actually be quite good because it's more difficult to get crit damage as a buff than it is to get attack as a buff. So it's easier to compensate for that kind of thing. I still think those sorts of weapons are difficult to run on characters that scale naturally on attack. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. I could see some cases for it. But like really, like you'd probably like who do you really have as like good bow units though that don't want a lot of attack, right? Like you basically have Official, Child, Yoimiya, Ganyu, I guess, on a freeze team if you can buffer attack enough. I mean, yeah, you can make it work. Wow, my frame rate is stuttering. Hold up. What is happening? I don't think my computer likes that sandstorm very much. We're gonna move away from that. Okay, can you not? I'm going. No, don't chase me. Quit following me. It's very rude. So many rude people in the desert. Goodness. Oh. That's a random place to have a storybook page. Okay. Cool. Love it. Love it.
Quit following me.
Indeed. Oh, right. I remember what we were going to do. We were going to look up Elhatham's thing.
Wait. Huh? No.
Nope. It's not there. Maybe it is in his profile. I swear he has a thing in here on the Temple of Silence. I don't see it. Huh. I swear he had something to do with the Temple of Silence somewhere in his thing, but I guess not. I don't see it. All right, then. Angel Werewolf, thanks for the super chat. Do you know when the 3.5 live stream is? Sorry for being off topic. Oh, God, I'm so behind on topics. Like, you're fine, dude. I don't know. The live streams are usually like a week to 10 days-ish before the next patch. So we are like 2 weeks into this patch, I think. Something like that, right? Is that right? 2 weeks? Hold on. There's an easy way to tell. 5 days. Okay, so we're like, yeah, we're 2 weeks in. We're like 15 days in. Like 15 days in. So in like, that means we have like 3 weeks plus 5 days before the next patch. So yeah, probably the last week of February. Does that sound right? I think that sounds right. That sounds right. Curious to see what they'll do with Dia. Pyro characters are in a weird spot right now because Burgeon is really hard to run. And Dendro is like basically the meta element right now. So I'm very curious what they're going to do with her. Only a couple more weeks to find out. I'd say probably like 2.5 weeks.
Squall and Fury.
You're still alive? Goodness. That's what I say to myself every morning. You're still alive? I thought you were sleeping. Lily, stop it. Which way was I going? I don't remember. I'm wandering around aimlessly. A thing! I like things! Oh goodness, we got a bunch of new members. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm still pretty behind. Okay, I'm caught up. I'm good. Vicmers, what kind of crackish theory, but what do you think of Xiao being a A what? A Thamudian? Based on the golden-eyed gladiators. What's a Thamudian? What is a Thamudian?
Too slow.
I have no idea. I guess my answer to your question is I have no idea because I don't know what that is. Levi, stop it. You don't have to go outside. Dylan Gillian, did you not see the Dia leaks then? I don't talk about leaks on my stream. And even if I had seen them, I'm still curious what they're gonna do with her. And if you've seen them, you'll know why I'm curious about what they're gonna do with her. And that is all I'm gonna say on that matter. Wait, why did I go this way? I didn't mean to go this way. We're going this way. Meow. No, you're not going outside. Stop looking at me like that. I like flowing down into caves because it's super dangerous to do in real life. Super dangerous. You know, it's really, 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 really dangerous to go, like, into these old ruins. Like, for reals. Not because of monsters or anything, but, like, because this stuff, like, is all sealed off. Everything that's inside it, like all the bacteria and stuff, it ferments. And it creates these horrible toxic gases that can be very, very horrible to breathe. Like, you could die. It's one of those things, like, when I watch people in movies and stuff open tombs and, like, go inside and they're not wearing any sort of facial breathing apparatus. And they've got, like, you know, a torch. I'm just like, you're gonna blow something up. I hope you know that. And then you're gonna die. Clarification of Thamidians are mentioned in the Aru village waypoint description. I don't remember how to read waypoint descriptions. I'm so spoiled by the wiki now, it's bad. All right. Oh. I don't think so. I don't think so. Hang on. Yeah, I don't think that applies to Xiao. Xiao is not human. I mean, he's a bird. Oh, that's why it sounds familiar. They're the Tamud. Got it. They're referencing the Tamud. So, like, the ancient Arabian tribe in the northwestern Arabian Peninsula between the, let's see, Assyria and Roman sources. Got it. Okay, I see why they're mentioning them. I don't think this is related to Xiao at all. The Tamud were an example of an ancient polytheistic people who were destroyed by God for their sins. According to the Quran and the Islamic exegetical tradition, the Tamud were an early Arab tribe who rejected the message of the prophet Salih. Saleh? When they cut the hamstring of a female camel that God had sent down for them despite the prophet's warnings. They were annihilated except for Salih and his followers. Given that they've got the golden eyes of Saleh here, I think that's just a reference to that, Saleh being the prophet. Zhao is not a human, so I don't think that has any relation to him at all. I'm sorry to say. Got it. Ganyu is not a goat. Ganyu is a Qilin. She is a Qilin. Anyway. Yeah, I don't think they're related at all. What do you mean it's in Al-Haytham's? Did I just like not... Can I just not see it?
Wait. Huh? No. Whatever.
Oh. So observed and experienced staff member at the Temple of Silence. Yeah, okay. It's just at the very end. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, that does kind of support the idea that it's probably like a Matra-ish kind of thing.
Even the wind cannot blow on forever.
That's nice. Quang, thank you for the super chat again. My dude. Any theories on Natlan? So far, we haven't encountered any Natlan NPC, which is really odd. The Pyro Gemstone also has a redacted word on it. Thoughts? Two thoughts. One, we have had Natlan PCs. We had one during an event where we learned about how Natlan people like to box. Which I guess shouldn't be a surprise for a nation of war. That boxing is a hobby. But he was part of an event, so we don't have a permanent one. You're right on that much. As far as like the redacted bit goes on the Pyro Gemstone, I think now that we've kind of been through Sumeru and Scaramouche's whole ordeal and Nahida's whole ordeal, I think we can probably pretty safely say that the redacted word is probably an Irminsul alteration. Something that's already been altered. That we're not aware of yet. Which may be why we don't have anything on Natlan yet. One thing I'll say about Natlan is I do think it's going to be Mesoamerica. Beyond that, I don't have a whole lot of theories other than I think something seriously bad went down in Natlan and something got deleted.
Take it and have fun.
That was cool. That was not how I expected that thing to go. But other than that, like there's just not a whole lot to work with when it comes to Natlan. Like we've literally got nothing. We have to look at like Vanessa for hints, and even then she doesn't have a whole lot. What I can say with confidence is I'm pretty sure it's going to be Mesoamerica, and I think like Irminsul trickery went down there, and the nation might be closed off worse than Inazuma is. That's probably about it. GT Weddle, thank you for pointing out the Temple of Silence thing was on Alhatham's outfit, because that would have bothered me. I would have like gone back later and just like come through the wiki being like, where is it? Where is it? I must find it. I don't need that in my life right now. I just don't, man. I don't need it. You know what I do need in my life?
Not now.
Violence!
Time for me.
Yum yum. And a new controller, honestly. I really need a new controller. This one's so strange. Like, I'm at... My camera stick keeps getting stuck when I'm, like, in the abyss. And, I keep going, like, in circles. Like, it'll just do this. Oops. Like, I'll be in the abyss fighting, and it'll just, like, keep spinning like this around me because the stick is stuck. I need a new controller. I mean, it's funny when it happens, except, like, when it kills me. I did the Abyss today with, like, the worst team matchup. That was, like, a mistake. I put Alhaitham Hyperbloom on the second half of floor 12, and then I put my Scaramouche Airfryer team on the first half of floor 12, which in hindsight was the stupidest thing to do because Azimon is really difficult to beat unless you can one-shot him. Before he goes into his invulnerability phase where everything's invisible. And he was doing it like every 10 seconds in my runs. And it was the most infuriating thing. Because like I couldn't even do a full rotation before he'd be in his invulnerability phase. And I couldn't do anything because I didn't have any Electro or Dendro to work with. And I just have to wait. So bad. I mean, I did it eventually. See, my controller got stuck there. But it was a bad idea. In hindsight, I should have swapped the teams, but I didn't want to exit and redo it at that point. I don't have any of these. Cool. However, I will mark you on the map as a juicy little secret to plunder later. You know. Juanita, what do you think about the theory that Zhongli is a descender? Okay, this is really gonna depend a lot on the definition of a descender, all right? Because, like, if a descender is just somebody who comes down from above, then anyone who comes from somewhere above Tevat is considered a descender, right? But if there's an additional requirement, as in you have to come from above and fulfill this secondary thing, then he may not be a descender. Because, like, it's explicitly stated that he descended to Tevat. From where? No one really knows, but it wasn't, you know, Earth, wherever it was. But the thing is, if that's the case, if we take that as him being a descender, we also have to take into account the fact that Guizhong is also a descender, and that the Goddess of Flowers is also a descender. But that puts us already at 3 descenders, right? And we know that we're the 4th. So either we descended way long before these guys did, or they descended from a different place than we did. Right? So that's kind of where I'm at with the whole Zhongli is a descender thing. Like, he could come from not Tevat, and I think most of the gods would have come from not Tevat anyway, but I think there's a secondary requirement that we fulfill that they don't. So under those conditions, I don't think he's a descender. Under the conditions of he came from above Tevat, I do think he's a descender. Clear as mud? Good. Love it. I don't know what that white thing is. What is that white thing? I want to see the white thing. Bring me closer. Oh, yeah.
The wind rises.
It's a fire! Well, that was dumb. I went in the wrong direction. Who did that? Whose dumb idea was that? Alhaitham, you gotta update your auto-targeting module, buddy, because this is sad.
This isn't good.
There we go. All sorts of yummy yummies, all sorts of yummy yummies. Woohoo! So yeah, anyway, that's my whole thing. I will say this though. I did say earlier that Zhongli has Ether's earring. Cause that's a thing. Hold on. Oh wait, it's on here. I forget there's an archive and then there's a character archive. Yeah. Okay. You see his earring? You see that? You see it? Well, remember it for a minute while I... The heck is my traveler? Oh, he's not going to be in here, is he? That's annoying. Sorry to have to do this to you guys. But like... Ether has the same earring, it's just that his lights up. Like, it's basically the exact same earring as Zhongli has. And so that does give me some pause. But again, it could be that Ether is filling a secondary condition that Zhongli doesn't. So who knows? I don't have enough information to, like, actually have a proper opinion on it, unfortunately. Kathok, is the Day of the Dead art canon?
Which is exactly why I took the position.
No, it's not. Okay, I know the one you're talking about. There's a Day of the Dead fan art kind of thing with Ether and Paimon on it. I'm pretty sure it's a fan art. I don't think it's official. I think it's just like a paid Hoyo Lab, you know, when they like do the Hoyo Fest stuff. I think that's what it is. But that's also not the reason why I think it's Mesoamerica. A lot of the Mesoamerica stuff that I think is happening, it's just because, like, Natlan, for example, the name, it's very reminiscent of, like, Tenochtitlan. Oh, I'm gonna say it so bad. I can't do it. I've tried so hard to say, like, Aztec and Mayan names, and they take me a long time. But you know what I mean, right? Like, if you look at Mesoamerican, like, city names and such like that, like, there's a lot in common with Natlan. It's just missing an apostrophe, really. But the argument I've seen to this for people who think it'll be Africa instead is that in the Travail trailer, the character that represents Natlan is Iansen. That's her name. And Iansen is a Yoruba name. And Yoruba is African. Thing is that, and this is like not happy piece of history trivia, but Yoruban language was actually spoken in Mesoamerica for a long time because of the slave trade. So depending on the time period that they're going for, that could very well still be the thing. You know, like the idea that there's a lot of cross-cultural sharing between Mesoamerica and significant chunks of Africa is like a real thing. And knowing Hoyoverse, that seems like something that they would reference. So that's the reason why I say it's Mesoamerica. It's not really anything to do with like any fan art or anything that I've seen there. Also because Sumero is seeming to fill a lot of the more Africa, what's the word?
Squall and fury.
It seems to have more of its geography, I think. There is apparently an, there's apparently a thing here that I was not aware of, and so we're gonna try and find it, wherever it is. I don't know where it is, I don't know. I haven't been hunting very hard for the oculi. Holly Kate, I saw others saying that the Wanderer is not a reliable source of information now because of what happened in 3.3 Interlude Quest. What do you think? I don't know why that would make him an unreliable source of information. Okay, so here's the thing. If you can't consider Scaramouche a reliable source anymore, you can't consider any character in-game at all, ever, to be a reliable source anymore. At all. Ever. Like, period. There's no one in the game you can trust if you at least can't trust him because of what happened in Inversion of Genesis. If you can't trust him because of what happened then, you literally can't trust any character in this entire game. I could say it again, but I think you get the idea. What you have to remember in terms of Genshin is that it's actually a very good example of how to write unreliable narrators. The challenge of this game is not necessarily what happened. It's more like this game is really a whodunit, right? We're gonna get testimonies from, you know, dozens and dozens and hundreds of different characters. And they're all going to be different, and they're all going to have something else to say, and they're all going to be coming from different perspectives. Every single one of them. And not one of them is going to be the complete truth. It's kind of our job as not only the player, but as the traveler, to distill what bits of truth you can get from which characters. You see, you know what I'm saying? Like, saying all of a sudden, oh, you know, we can't trust any of the history books anymore, so we can only trust fairy tales. But the thing is, fairy tales are not that trustworthy to begin with because, again, they're fiction. They're meant to be embellished, right? And because of that, like, we were never able to trust those at all. What we've now learned is that we need to be looking at every book, regardless of whether it's historical or not. It's not about, is it a fairy tale or is it a historical book? There's going to be grains of truth in all of them. And in understanding what's important for who at what time is also important, right? So to say Scaramouche is unreliable is just redundant because there's no character in this game that is at all reliable anymore, period. When going through content now, like when I'm going through books to try and figure out like what kind of information can I put into a theory or something, what I'm looking at is less the nuance of things and more where things line up with other tales. If I see an incident that's recalled 4 different ways in 4 different books, I'm going to assume that the incident happened, but probably not the way that any one of those 4 accounts said it happened. You with me?
Roll away now.
Okay, I really think Levi has to go outside. He doesn't usually whine this bad. Hold up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That's pretty much how real anthropology works. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said, like, the fact that Genshin has a simple story is not a bad thing. Because when you have a really simple story where something simple is like the catalyst for everything that happens in the game, you can actually layer levels of complexity to it, right? You can do lots of really cool things with it. All right, I don't know why my phone's going crazy, but like it needs to stop doing that now. So yeah, I think Scaramouche is as reliable of a source as any other character in the game right now. And I don't think it's possible to quantify one source over another. I think that's kind of silly. It's my TLDR on that. It's my opinion on that. Hold up. I got behind because I went and did a thing. Kwong, thanks again. Thanks again for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. You've been more than generous today. Genshin released their latest Stellar Moments album featuring Paimon praying. Any lore significance? Lantern Rite also links Paimon to time frequently. Yes and no. They've always had Paimon either sleeping or with her eyes closed on the Stellar Moments thing. It's interesting because, like, if you look on the upper left-hand corner of the screen right now, the Paimon menu, her eyes are closed up there too. Implying that she's sleeping, which kind of ties her to dreaming, which is, like, kind of the basis for how reality functions in Genshin. So take that as you will. I mean, I'm sure it's significant. It's just... It's hard to say at this point whether Paimon really matters in the grand scheme of things, or if she's going to be made to matter. I don't know if that makes sense either. How do I explain where my brain is with this? All right, here's one way to put it. It's very popular to assume that Paimon is like the primordial one or the original god or whatever, right? I think it's a very popular thing to say that, and I think it's possible. But I think it's equally possible that Paimon isn't the primordial god, but she could be like the next in line. Because a lot of like the god inheritance stories that we have, especially in regards to Fanes, who is you know, the primordial-ish god that's been referenced in Genshin, at least. Especially in relation there, there's a whole line of succession, right? Like, Fanes was the original primordial god, but then like his powers were inherited by another god, and then inherited by another god, and then another god, until you got all the way down to like Zagreus and Dionysus, right? So it's possible that there's a situation like that with Paimon where she's not Fanes, but she could be Zagreus, right? So she could literally be a child who didn't create the world but is supposed to inherit it. But see, to me, that also feels weird because at the same time, like, there's a lot of lore in game that suggests that we as the travelers are supposed to inherit this world. And at this point, I'm almost convinced that Paimon is actually part of the traveler. I don't know why it took me out of my skill stance. That's weird. But like, I pitched this idea that the travelers were interstellar. Oh, okay. My computer does not like the sandstorm, like, at all. Goodness. Okay, we're gonna run away from that then. We're not gonna go over there. I pitched this idea that the travelers were interstellar space travelers. And I think that's quite possible. But I also think that Paimon might have been like part of a navigation system or something else. I still think that it's as equally possible that Paimon is a primordial god as it is that she's like the fragment of one, as it is that she's like a mini servant of it that was crafted in the primordial one's image. I think all of those instances are equally likely. So like I can't even say that something on Stellar Moments matters yet because it's hard to push for one theory over the other, at least for me right now. I've met some people who claim that they know like 100% without a doubt what Paimon is and what her purpose is, and that it has to do with something that got leaked like months and months and months ago. And I have no idea what they're talking about. And I have no idea.
Ooh, we can definitely write this off as incidental gains.
Anyway. Anyway. Whee! Yeah, my computer does not like streaming and going through this desert at the same time, I have learned. Does not like that. Nope, not one bit. Struggles a little bit. Eating gods grant creatures... Wait, what? Hang on. My chat just jumped. Sorry. Eating gods grants creatures powers, and eating Paimon would kind of do the same, no? Well, I mean, Paimon eats slimes. And then we've got these weird new consecrated beasts that eat, like, the flesh of dead gods. And it, like, calcifies on top of them and makes them super strong. That's not weird at all. And slimes are basically beings made of more or less pure elemental energy, so that's also kind of weird. I found a thing. There must be another obelisk around here. I know I'm missing an obelisk.
The wind rises.
Can I just say that, like, in terms of early game exploration in Liyue and Mondstadt, Wanderer makes that so much easier. Like, it's not even funny. Going back through those places and being like, oh, you mean I don't have to solve a puzzle to get to this thing? I can just kind of, like, Wanderer hover over it and get it? It's kind of nice. Anyway. It's super nice.
My mind is completely blank. I need to get out and unwind.
Razor, hey, first time to catch you, love, but I wanted to say enjoy the content you make on lore and the speculations you do as well. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I will. I'm kind of too invested to quit at this point. I'm here for the long haul. And maybe Star Rail 2, we'll see when that game comes out. We'll see how that goes. Okay, there has to be another obelisk around here, but I don't actually know where it is. I haven't used a guide or anything. I know there's one more obelisk because I still have tablets for it, but I don't know where it is. Is it in this hole? What's in this hole? Hello, hole. Oh, this is the purple hole. Yeah, it's okay. I don't want to go in the purple hole. I still think it's kind of weird that, like, are these technically supposed to be roses? Like, I know they're supposed to be patisaras, but they don't look like patisaras. But they're also on these... Leave me alone. But they're also on these, like, giant vines that are full of thorns. So I don't understand that. I think that's the first time we've seen flowers on these giant tree roots, except for one instance. There is one instance where we have seen we have seen flowers on giant tree roots, come to think of it. And as far as I know, it's the only instance. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty darn sure. Are these are flowers? Yeah, these are flowers. So technically the sacred Sakura, I think, is the only time we've seen flowers on these giant tree roots. Interesting. I don't know, I'm just thinking. Any thoughts about Paimon having increasingly bad separation anxiety? Well, you know, Paimon gets a bit of a bad rap, honestly. Like, I feel kind of bad, because I think people think of Paimon as a very small adult. And I've never seen Paimon as anything more than, like, an 8-year-old. So, like, a lot of her ignorance and her callous comments and her impatience and her, like, insatiable hunger and the all eyes on me, I need you to pay attention to me right now, just screams like neglected 8-year-old child who ran away from home. So, I mean, she was underwater for a long time. That much we know. And she was potentially trapped there for a very long time. And this is part of the reason why I don't necessarily, or why I have a hard time believing she's the whole primordial one thing, and why I think she might be more like an heir to the primordial one, because I think she might have been a child when she was cast out of heaven, so to speak. And she was all alone and all that. And so she, you know, she developed like a bunch of complexes. But the other reason why I don't think she'll ever, quote, betray us or leave us indefinitely or anything is because she is, like, baked into the game so hardcore. Like, she's our menu. She's in every single quest. She's our mouthpiece. Like, if Paimon was ever to leave our party, like, we couldn't go back and do story quests. Any of them. We couldn't do hangouts. We couldn't do anything. So it's hard for me to believe that she'd do that. I do think she's a child, that's all. And I think she's, like, really identified the Traveler as her family, and she just doesn't want to be alone anymore. The interesting thing to me with Paimon, though, is that having played through the story again, like, recently, I found it very interesting how she starts off kind of impartial and robotic, and then as the game progresses, she slowly, how to say, she becomes a person as the game progresses. Like, she develops quirks, she develops traits, she develops, like you said, anxieties. She starts developing all of these personal traits, and she becomes more and more human and less hello, I'm a friendly AI here to guide you kind of thing, you know? I find that very interesting in terms of Paimon. But yeah, I don't know. Paimon is maybe like Ai-chan. Yeah, something like that, I think. I think that's a distinct possibility. Do you think there's any relation between the new elemental creatures and the elemental eremites, the ones that can summon elemental creatures? Yes, I mean, they're beast tamers, right? And those are just desert beasts. So they found a way to tame it. And a lot of their equipment, the Eremites anyway, a lot of their equipment is all not necessarily stuff they make, it's stuff that they've salvaged. So a lot of it, like, I'm actually wondering if some of their equipment is based on Jinn. Like if they're, you know, they have fractions of Jinn souls inside of their equipment. Because again, like, I don't think any of them made their stuff. They just, they salvage it. They use all this old stuff from the previous civilization that they kind of inherit over time. So I'm not entirely sure on that one. Malachite, found your channel last week and have been binging. So great. One question I have is the degree to which Hu Tao knows more than she lets on given the Venti Zhongli scene and how Wangsheng is. So Wangsheng was very, very connected with the Yaksha. They were basically doing like cleanup alongside the Yaksha, like way back. And into the Cataclysm and stuff. So, like, I'm sure she knows more than she lets on. I don't necessarily know that Hu Tao thinks Zhongli is Morax or Rex Lapis, so much as she knows he's not human. But again, like, even as we've seen with Yao Yao, like, Yao Yao knows that Ganyu is an Adeptus, and Yanfei kind of strolls around being like, yeah, I'm not human, so what? So, like, I don't know how big of a deal it is. It's hard to say. It's just hard to say. Hu Tao's confusing, and Hoyo doesn't really do much with her, ever. Like, I thought for this event we might get a story that was kind of focused on Hu Tao. And then we got a wrap and a dinner and not a whole lot else. I don't know. I thought they were going to do more with her. But they haven't done anything with her. Like, this is the first time she's, like, properly shown up an event in an event other than, like, a cameo since she released. Which is wild when you think about it. It's wild, absolutely wild. Hang on, I know I've missed something. I know I've missed something. Hold on. Harley, thanks for the 6 months. You got the 36 stars. Please clap. Yes, yes, you did. 6 months, 36 stars. You did a good job. Okay, where the hell? Oh my god, I am so lost. Hold on, I know, I'm sorry. The whole screen is really boring looking right now. Corey Yuri, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Chi-Chi deserves a story quest before Baiju. I won't apologize. But what if they're saving Chi-Chi's story quest for Baiju? Like, what if he's, like, involved, or, like, his quest is a prerequisite? What would you do then? But yeah, no, she really does deserve one. So does Kaching. Like, those are the two that don't have one yet. And I'm so confused as to why they don't have one. Like, I get why Shenhe and Wanderer don't have them yet, but, like, I don't understand why Chi-Chi and Kaching don't have them. It feels like such an arbitrary decision. I don't know what they're saving them for. Super weird. Super weird.
Too slow.
Hu Tao is literally an advertisement mascot. Yeah, I know. That's what's weird about it. Like, they use her in so much advertising material, and then they don't do anything with her in game. Ito has had way more appearances in events than Hu Tao has. You know how weird that is? I find that so strange. I can't tell if they, like, love Ito or just realize he's a huge cash cow. I don't, no pun intended.
Quit following me. Squall and fury.
I can't tell. Cyrus, do you think the fall of Conria was planned by Celestia long before the Cataclysm? No, I don't.
Too slow.
There's a lot of weirdness surrounding Conria. I'm not thoroughly convinced that Celestia like waged war on Conria at this point. I'm really not. The thing about the Sustainer, I'm not convinced she's an offensive person, god, that she has an offensive role. I honestly think her role is like quarantine. Like, I think her job is to put things into quarantine.
Quit following me.
I don't think she's supposed to be like someone who enacts judgment. She's someone who like stabilizes. I don't know how else to put it. The fact that, like, you know, when Irminsul was contaminated with forbidden knowledge because of Rukkhadevata, you know, there were tons of those floating red cubes everywhere near the tree. And then Conria was also full of those red cubes everywhere during the Cataclysm, when presumably more forbidden knowledge was strewn around and everything, and that the nails have been confirmed to have been sent down to repress the forbidden knowledge / dark mud that came out from the bottom of the earth to repair all the damage that had been done by the second who came. The fact that we have confirmation on all of those things makes me think that the Sustainer's job is literally clean up. Like, she's trying to keep things stable. So she like captures things and puts them in quarantine. And given that there's so many red cubes around, I just wonder if that's what was happening in Conria. Like, it was a controlled burn, so to speak. Like, she didn't want to destroy a forest, so to speak, but she decided that she was going to burn just this one part so that a disease wouldn't spread. It's kind of like, you know, banana plantations. You don't want to, like, just stop having bananas altogether, but you have to get rid of all the diseased land, or else the fungal bacteria, the fungal infections will spread.
Too slow.
I think of it like that. So I don't think it was premeditated. How's that? So you're saying the Sustainer is trying to sustain Tevat as it is? I mean, yeah, basically. Mars, have you noticed that the certain traps in the desert mausoleum look just like the Sustainer's cubes? They kind of do, but they also kind of don't. If you play through some of the earlier one-time domains, you'll see a lot of those devices hanging around. And they come in a few different colors. I'm not convinced that they're perfectly tied to the Sustainer. I think they're just cuboid. Caffeinated uncoffee. Where do you think that we'll see our next celestial nail? In the desert. I still think we're gonna find one in the desert. So my brother and his friends gave me the nickname Susty years ago, and having you name the Sustainer Susty really throws me off every day. Say, why are you called Susty? What name would you have to be nicknamed that? Like, no offense, I can't think of a name that would warrant that nickname. I'm kind of like thrown off by it. Do you think Dainsleif is complicit in concealing the truth of Tevat? Yeah, I don't know about complicit. Complicit implies some sort of conspiracy. I think he knows the truth of Tevat. I think that's why he does a lot of the things he does. I don't necessarily know that he's holding it back from us in so much as he's trying to explain it to us in ways that we can digest piece by piece, while also sort of not being sure about what he wants to have happen. The thing about Dainsleif is that he has his own motives, right? So, like, he might be trying to get us on his side before he tells us the truth, or at least he wants to be able to present us the truth in a way that will allow us to see things from his perspective as opposed to anyone else's. I think that's something I would say he's conspiring to do. I wouldn't say he's conspiring with somebody to do that, though. Oh my god, this camera thing's gonna drive me crazy. Do I think people still know that it was the forbidden knowledge that cursed so many civilizations in Sumeru after the Archon quest? I don't think most people knew it was forbidden knowledge at all. I don't think that was ever a thing.
You think I've got a sharp tongue? I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem.
Whee! I like these little fireworks. Can we just keep them? Do I get hit with pyro? How come I don't get infected with pyro when I do this? Wah, 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 wee!
Too slow.
Would knowing the skies of Tevat are fake be forbidden knowledge? No, because if that was true, Scaramouche would have been smited. And so would Pyro. I think the thing about forbidden knowledge is that it might not just be one thing or one factoid. I think it's just a type of processing information. Like a type of... like the way you process certain information. What if in order to turn back time itself or to summon Istaroth, you need all of the Gnosis? Yep, I've pitched that idea before. Right now it seems fairly plausible. Likely? I don't know. Possible, yes. Do you think Irminsul existed before or after the arrival of Celestia to Tevat? And if after, did Celestia plant it? It has to have arrived first. Or at the same time. We have a rough idea of where Irminsul could have come into being. The thing is we know that the Primordial One created things like weight and, well, time, really. Like, we know the Primordial One did those sorts of things, but all of those sorts of things are managed by Irminsul. And part of me even wonders if Irminsul is the Primordial One. I've thought about that.
There's little difference between snow and rain, yet people lavish praise only upon the former. Fate can be truly arbitrary.
But we read before Sun and Moon, are we supposed to be smited like the serpent? No, not necessarily.
Quit following me.
Remember, the Traveler is... seriously. The Traveler is an exception to a lot of rules. Because on the one hand, we're not supposed to be tracked by Irminsul at all. So if we're not tracked by Irminsul, supposedly, and our data isn't stored publicly, then there's no way for Celestia to know that we got that book and read it. You know, it just won't show up, right?
Too slow.
So unless we went to Celestia and be like, hey, we got your book, they're not going to know anything.
Quit following me.
What do you think would happen to the world if Irminsul burns? Well, I mean, the sky would fall, for one. Cyrus Gold, or forbidden knowledge is what you get when a program tries to alter one of the system files that the root directory is responsible for the program. Yeah, okay, that's possible too. I think there's a lot to be said when we like, if we liken forbidden knowledge to the abyss. If you just think about forbidden knowledge as being this is data that comes from the abyss, it can be literally anything. It could be lies, it could be fate, it could be like a fallen history, it could be like the corrupted emotions of a dead god, like it could be all sorts of things. It's just something that the mortal mind can't process. Whether that is in the form of a simple factoid or not is something we don't really know yet. Do I think Celestia encapsulated all of Teyvat because they are responsible for the destruction of the actual world? What? I don't follow that line of thought. Wouldn't saying Rukkhadevata was alive also be considered forbidden knowledge? No? Like again, forbidden knowledge isn't just something you know. It's not a... I think the name forbidden knowledge is misleading. And the reason why I want to keep calling it dark mud, and I don't though, is because I think the word forbidden knowledge is, like the words forbidden knowledge is very misleading. Because they're describing it as a physical thing, not just something that you know. Whoa. It's very dark here. Right? Like, they had to send down nails to fix the world, to repair it. Deshret and Conria basically flooded Sumeru with a dark mud that made dark rain and a dark sky, right? Like, those were all things that happened. They're physical things. You came in contact with them and they drove you mad. It wasn't one fact. It's not one truth. It's not one thing. It's a physical thing, right? It's something that would have overwhelmed the brain. Lady Potato, wouldn't Tartaglia be considered a corrupted file then? Yeah, potentially. He very well could be considered a corrupted file. I think that's everything. I'm tired. Oh, right. I have a couple over here. It's like Cthulhu's Madness. I don't...
Quit following me.
Hi, tired. I'm dad. You are not my dad. Wait, how can forbidden knowledge be written in a book? It's not written in a book. Okay, there's a difference between a book being forbidden to read and then the concept of forbidden knowledge. Like, one of them has a lowercase f and one of them is uppercase as a noun, right? If a book is forbidden to be read because the information in it is something that you're not supposed to know, it can be forbidden. That doesn't mean that the knowledge within a book that is forbidden knowledge, as in the proper noun, both capitalized. No, he didn't read the forbidden knowledge and went mad. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. We're not, no. This is why I'm calling it dark mud and abyssal energy instead. All All right, let me try one more time. First off, let's be very clear. Orobashi did not read a book and then go mad. That did not happen. He read a book that contained information he was not supposed to know, and then he was sentenced to death by a higher power. And he lived for a considerable period of time post the execution notice. And he wasn't crazy. He staged a coup. He did like all these sorts of things to stage a coup and like set up his people so that they would be okay and everything without him. He did all of that intentionally because he had a death sentence. Celestia was going to kill him because he knew something he wasn't supposed to. That's not forbidden knowledge. He wasn't corrupted, right? Deshret, on the other hand, was corrupted by forbidden knowledge. That was a totally different thing. He wasn't sentenced to death by Celestia. He died because he was infected with, let's say, a toxin, like a neurotoxin. Let's take it this way. Let's say Deshret had a really bad trip. He went and he got some psychedelics thinking that they would help him obtain some crazy new way of thinking about things where he would discover some magical solution to a problem that he had, right? He took some psychedelics, it caused a really bad trip, and in his madness, it kind of destroyed everything around him. Right? Like that's like that acid trip led him like spill oil all over a city. And that oil made everybody sick and like cancer for years to come. Orobashi, on the other hand, read a banned book, and the police came after him and put a gun to his head and said, listen, you're not supposed to know this. Right? Like there's two different things. Two very different scenarios. But yeah, so forbidden knowledge is not the same thing as knowledge that has been prohibited. And that's why I don't like the name forbidden knowledge. The translation is not good. That's why I like to call it dark mud or abyssal energy. That's basically what they are. Because remember, like the abyssal energy is also related to like Marana and the Withering and Elazar and like all of that kind of stuff. Like reading a book doesn't give you that. I want to hit the things. No. Oh. I wanted to hit the purple things. Purple things. Nope. I can't hit the purple things without exploding on myself. I don't want to explode on myself. Bye. If Irminsul was corrupted, shouldn't the whole of Teyvat have symptoms of Elazar? Why only Sumeru? Probably because it was just Sumeru's Archon. My guess with the whole... Like, I don't really like how Rukkhadevata's arc was resolved because I feel like that made it more confusing for a lot of people. In my opinion, how I read that whole scenario was that Rukkhadevata became infected herself. And so she created a fresh clone of herself that had no corruption. And then she spent 500 years waiting for her clone to show up to you know, get rid of her, to purge her. And so she could have easily been, like, trying to repress the effects of the Withering and Elazar and everything else for 500 years. And that's how she let it to not spread beyond Sumeru. That was kind of how I read it. Is that the correct reading? I don't know. But that's kind of what I took from it. The fact that I don't know if that's the correct reading, though, kind of just tells you that it's a bit of a confusing scenario anyway. Anyway. What is the difference between forbidden knowledge and divine knowledge? Divine knowledge is just a fancy name they gave to forbidden knowledge, to make it sound like they weren't doing something wrong. Because, like, they're basically extracting all of this corrupted knowledge from... They just assumed that it should be divine, because divine knowledge apparently cannot be comprehended, and neither can forbidden knowledge. So they assumed that because these scholars had this information in their brain that they couldn't comprehend, they must have made contact with divine knowledge, because they had contact with Irminsul, and they couldn't comprehend it, so they went mad. So that's why they called it divine knowledge. Fundamentally, I don't think there's actually a difference. I think divine knowledge and forbidden knowledge are the exact same thing. But Skirmish was apparently being made to comprehend divine knowledge according to Winter Knight's Lazo. He was supposed to, yeah, but he was never actually given those capsules. And it's a good thing he wasn't, because he would have been an absolute menace to society. Hey, look, it's... I keep thinking that's Rana, and it's not. What do I think of the Marana as Honkai theory? I think that it kind of ignores what Honkai was made to do. Marana means death. And the Honkai's goal is not to destroy humanity. I feel like a lot of people think that it's supposed to. What the Honkai's goal is to force humanity to evolve in a very particular way. And when humanity doesn't evolve in the way that the Honkai wants it to, it resets humanity by just, like, erasing it and turning back time and starting over. Like, that's the whole thing. And that's part of why I don't think that Marana and, like, the Abyssal Mud is considered Honkai. It could be a form of Honkai, potentially, but I don't think it's supposed to be, like, all-encompassing. This is what Honkai is in Genshin. And why do you think they wanted that divine knowledge capsule in the beginning? Now I'm confused. Okay, listen. The sages aren't all knowing. They don't know everything. They're making some very dangerous assumptions. And Dottore is basically saying, yeah, dude, go do the dangerous thing. Push the red buttons, right? Scaramouche wants to become a god. To become a god, he needs, well, godly wisdom. So they assume that they're going to take this thing that they think is godly wisdom and give it to this completely unhinged divine puppet. And that'll make him a god. It probably wouldn't. It probably would have turned him into an absolute monster. So are Descenders immune to forbidden knowledge? No, I don't think so. The Traveler can purify abyssal corruption, that's true. However, it's not... The Traveler doesn't seem to be completely immune to corruption themselves. If Primordial One created humans, birds, and beasts, and how did Adepti come into being? The Adepti are animals that have achieved enlightenment and ascended beyond their beastly form. So they are technically beasts. Like Xiao is a bird, Ganyu is a Qilin, Cloud Retainer is obviously also a bird. You know, like things like that. So then what did conquering the divine gaze in Winterlight's Lazo mean? It's referring to the Gnosis. He had to conquer the Gnosis. He had to obtain mastery of it. The divine gaze is usually referring to an Archon. In the Golden Apple Archipelago, the divine gaze is used to refer to being granted a vision. which is supposed to be theoretically what it means to be under the divine gaze of an archon, to be given a vision of sorts. But the divine gaze in this case should be referring to the Gnosis, not divine knowledge capsules. If even gods can't escape erosion, wouldn't that mean that Susty can't escape it either, meaning the descendants are either substitute for her as a sustainer? Yeah, I mean, if you look, you'll notice that the sustainer is full of these, like, red and pulsating things on her skin that look like corruption. It's very plausible that she's corrupted and knows it, and therefore she's limited in the capacity that she can work. Sleepy Cat, by giving Scar the divine knowledge capsules, wouldn't that make him what the Abyss Order tried to do with the Overlord of the Vortex in the way? Yeah, it would. That's basically what the Abyss Order is trying to do, yeah. That is very true. Do I think the unknown god actually has a connection to Kiana or just looks? Which Kiana? Do you think she's Siren or Dudu? Or one of her many clones? Have I hydrated myself? I've been drinking tea this whole time. Oh, wait, seriously? Did Soren win Choose Your Legends? That's awesome.
Even the wind cannot blow on forever.
It's about friggin' time. Let me guess, Felix got first place for the males division. If it's not Felix, I'll be really surprised. Robin, really? Male Robin first, Soren second, is Felix third?
Upon the gale.
Wow, that's surprising. Who won female? Gulvig first, of course. Of course. To be fair, she looks pretty cool. And female Corin second. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's expected. Male division way more interesting than female this year. Huh. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it off for today. I think it's a good place to leave it off for today. Matt, thanks for the super chat. Yo, the YouTube iOS app still doesn't allow me to renew my membership, so here is my Discord rent for the month. Really enjoying the lore bits. Well, thank you. I don't know what's up with the iOS app. That seems like something you might want to report.
You think I've got a sharp
I don't have an
tongue?
iPhone, so I
Just
can't
tell it like it is.
help you there.
Someone
I'm on
can-
Android stuff.
Maybe that's their problem.
No, you just joined. I'm sorry. It's getting late though. I have work tomorrow. And the VODs are always on the channel. You can always watch them later. Can always watch them later. That's one reason why I like streaming on YouTube, is because these get saved. And since I don't stream every day, I don't have like a ridiculous number of streams for you guys to go through. So it's nice. Oh, I'm sorry for the people who just got here. I'm gonna head out though. I have 2 videos I want to work on. Next one up this week is gonna be on Guizhong, and then the one after that I think I'm gonna do is a Harbinger video. I hope you guys will be looking forward to that. And we'll see what happens from there. I think after that it'll be time for the live stream, and which will probably be when I see you guys live next. So yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna head out. Okay, Have a good night or day or morning or wherever you are. I don't know what time it is.